an ADOS dude. There was an ADOS dude named Bill something. Bill the Icon.
Right. Bring up all the dirty laundry.
We're going to go ahead and get it popping right about now. Thanks to everybody who's tuning into the channel. It's your man online, Bill Money. And again, as you see in the title, we want to go ahead and throw Vlad up under the microscope, see what we find. Many of you guys are probably familiar, with Vlad. It's kind of hot, cold right now, Either you riding with him or you riding against him. I'm riding against him. Been watching Vlad for a very long time. At one time, I would regularly tune in. I was a subscriber, to DJ Vlad's channel. He would always have some of the best guests and some very insightful interviews. Now, I want to tip my hat to Vlad. I'm not here to attack Vlad personally because I don't know the man. What I'm here to do, hopefully, is to critique his work. It is to offer a thoughtful analysis to Vlad's business practices, how he conducts himself as a so-called self-prescribed or self-subscribed or self-proclaimed, a self-proclaimed journalist. And we're definitely going to bring that into question tonight. Just take a look at my notes. So I just want to start out because we know Vlad has a lot of regular guests from the culture. A lot of big names, B-list, some A-list, perhaps, depends on, in black celebrity culture. A-list, B-list is a very fine line. Guys like John Sally, Michael Jai White, D.L. Hughley especially. D.L. Hughley is one of his favorites. But he likes to bring these people on, in my opinion, to mirror his own view, to co-sign his opinions about black culture, especially opinions that might not be, popular with those of us who like to think for ourselves. Vlad is going to toe the woke line, the popular line. Vlad doesn't want to ruffle any feathers, I guess what you want to call polite society. So he brings these regular guests on, John Sally, Michael Jai White, D.L. Hughley. John Sally sometimes pushes back. Sometimes you could see them bristling, themselves at some of his opinions. But, I think Vlad is paying well, and these regular guests, he has stated that he pays them to make regular appearances on the show. And I guess it's based upon what they negotiate. So, who's going to turn down the check if all they got to do is come up there and listen to a chatty patty gossip session, in my opinion. So he brings them on, much like Stephen A. Smith likes to bring on, like ESPN brings Stephen A. Smith on to talk greasy about black athletes. The white commentators pretty much knowing that if they offer unpopular critiques or harsh critiques, many times it'll be perceived as racism or it may be perceived as biased. So you get a brother, so to speak, you get a Stephen A. Smith to come on and say all the things that you want to say, and even to, sensationalize it in a way. We know how Stephen A. Smith likes to bring the news, but that's his detail, to say the things that his white bosses can't say or his counterparts cannot say themselves. So this is a tactic that Vlad uses. And I want to play a clip really quickly. Because there was a situation in which Vlad offered up some information about Carmelo Anthony hitting him on his DM because Vlad was, picked up the story, I guess, about Carmelo's alleged baby mom, which was an outside relationship outside of his marriage to Lala. I guess DJ Vlad had commented on it on his website, so forth and so on. And Carmelo hopped in his DM and he said Carmelo was angry and that Carmelo told him to stop, speaking about him and his personal business. So he wants to tell the story like he pushed back against against Carmelo. Talking tough in an interview with John Sally. I'm gonna go ahead and get this clip up for you guys. And this is fair use. I don't want to get jammed up. But John Sally, again, is a regular guest. And basically what these amount to, he says he brings these guys on to talk about current events. And they, they talk maybe a little bit about politics, but a lot of the content, a lot of the conversation is gossip. It's gossipy. It's opinions. It's sensational headlines. And it's always about black people. Vlad never talks about the shit that white people do. And we're going to get into that as well. Vlad doesn't really speak on white issues. Well, he may speak on or against, Donald Trump. Vlad, again, is going to toe the liberal line, the liberal agenda. That's his bag. That's the bag he's in, at least publicly. But I want to get to this comment where he's talking tough. I know he started the conversation with John Sally, but maybe I saved the wrong video. But I know he definitely also brings it up. And this is another thing that Vlad does. Certain agendas he's trying to push or certain themes or narratives he wants to spin, he'll bring these same stories or narratives up from guest to guest. They're not asking him about these issues. They're not involved. A lot of times people like Michael J. White will tell him, look, man, I don't know anything about this. And, he'll continue, just to get his narrative on the record.
Of them, or the text messages.
So here he is talking to Michael J. White. This is my reaction to Vlad telling Michael J. White how Carmelo Anthony hopped in his DMs and angrily asked him to stop speaking about his family. And how he responded.
And she had posted up the DMs of them, or the text messages of her basically asking for some financial support and him trying to give her cash instead of Cash App or whatever else. This got posted up and she already filed for divorce. Well, what's interesting is that Carmelo Anthony sent me a very angry DM.
Did he?
After, I think it was after the John Sally interview. That probably hit it a little close to home because, it's a basketball player.
Yeah, I don't know that thing about it, though.
Yeah.
And that's Michael J. White trying to very subtly, say, bro, I don't really want to talk about that man's personal business. I don't know anything about it, and I really don't wish to know anything about it. But, since you're paying me, I'll play along.
Yeah, it was very interesting to me that and I'm not going to say I didn't repost it or screen capture or whatever.
What happened?
I mean, you could say it was a lightweight. I would say it's a threat. I think it's just a tough talk, over DM, which I found kind of funny. Actually, it's okay, what's Carmelo Anthony going to do? What I mean? We're not going to run into each other. If we did, I would have security with me. Who the fuck cares what Carmelo has to think? What I mean? But it's interesting to me how people get mad at other people over their own bad decisions. What I mean? We're not going to run into each other. It's tough talk,
and this is what he does. Listen,
DM, which I found kind of funny, actually.
And he finds it funny because it happened on social media. If Carmelo Anthony ran up on DJ Vlad, I'm sure he'd feel a whole lot differently. Carmelo's about 6'8", probably about 240 pounds. you're gonna feel a whole lot differently if that man is standing, in your presence. But listen to how he deflects. I'm gonna have my security anyway.
It's like, okay, what's Carmelo Anthony?
Mm.
You know what I mean? We're not gonna run into each other. If we did, I would have security with you. Like, who the fuck cares what Carmelo has to think? Like, you know what I mean?
And there he is. Who cares? And this is, as a journalist, this is not the attitude you want to display if what you're actually out here presenting is true journalism. You don't want to report a story about a person, have that person reach out to you, understandably angry, especially if it's some dirt, some smut, some low-hanging fruit type of headline, and expect that man to be happy, but then for that man to reach out to you, and then for you to come on social media, laugh about it, act like you have no worries because you walk around with security. It's not a good attitude to have, because anybody can be touched, when you least expect it.
But
And he got Michael John White just up here, just a cheesing.
it's interesting to me how people get mad at other people over their own bad decisions. Right?
Yeah.
Like you're mad.
It's like you get mad when people call you police about the police questions that you like to ask. But I
me
digress.
over this. You've been a public figure for what, 30 years now?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I mean, he was a star, like, I'm sure in junior high already.
Yeah,
You know?
Athletes have been coddled and
And this is Michael John White pretty much trying to mediate the situation or offer Vlad a little understanding into the perspective of somebody like Carmelo Anthony, somebody who's been groomed to be a superstar athlete from an adolescent, and who was used to being handled a certain way. Now, not to say that, because he was groomed and taught to, behave a certain way, that you have to cater, to that aspect or cater to that dynamic. But he's just saying, hey, we don't want to go too hard on this man because we're all, men of flesh and blood at the end of the day. He did something that a lot of men have done. A lot of men have went outside their relationships, their marriages, and have outside kids. A lot of men, have done this. And that doesn't make a man a bad man. That doesn't make a man a bad person. So for Vlad, who doesn't have any kids, to speak on a man who has kids, who has a marriage, who has made mistakes, and because of his status as a superstar athlete, a lot of these mistakes have been amplified in the public eye. It's not always an opportunity to hit on a guy, to knock a man down. These things occur in personal relationships, and outside of his personal relationship foibles, Carmelo Anthony has been an upstanding member of the community, productive. I'm not aware of any criminal tendencies, any criminal backgrounds, any arrests, DUIs, possessions. Only thing I know about Carmelo is he will fight you. You know what I'm saying? He trains in boxing and he put them hands on you. You feel me? At one point in time, he would pop off. So I don't know if, at this day and time, if he's of that mindset. But, that's the only thing I know about Carmelo. Never been in any trouble. So to figure that's the guy you want to try to pick on, I think there's more worthy candidates. But again, the low-hanging fruit, Vlad, he doesn't want to talk about anything good.